go, boys.
We're back.
Listening to the Sportz Nutz.
We are back. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Sportz Nutz Season 4 premiere. Guys, what do you guys think of that new intro, by the way?
Hey, boy, love it. Matt's been working hard. No wonder I ain't heard nothing from him.
Matt been gone for a minute, man. Matt been in La La Land, man.
I realize, though, that my good side is definitely my front, not my side.
Hey, that was a good little view, though, Hank. Because I mean, you're literally pop it in and you pull that mic and you're ready to go. Man, that was far out. Way to go, guys. Hey, welcome everybody. We are back. Yes, we are so excited to have each and every one of you coming on to join us. We really do appreciate it. Now, we may have a guest. We haven't heard from him in actually about a week. So if we're not, we still have a lot of fun here. We have a lot of sports to talk about. Y'all, we can't wait to get it going with you. Before we dive into the rundown, however, my man sitting right below me, Mr. Matt Thomas. Matt, welcome to Season 4, man. How are you doing?
Nah, man, I'm doing good, man. I'm doing good, man. Can't complain, guys. Taking it one day at a time. Good to see you guys again. I hope this week and some change off was beneficial for everybody and got everybody's juices back flowing. Pause. And let's go from there.
Hey, adjust your light. You're a little dark on the lighting.
I like the movie theatrical. Theatrical.
Here we go.
Yeah, I like the theatrical.
My man sitting literally catty corner, Mr. Shane Owen. How are you doing, brother?
Man, been doing great. Excited to kick off the Season 4. Man, we got some big things planned, as we've already alluded to in the little special announcement episode that we did on Wednesday. But man, hey, I'm here, so let's get it.
That's right, guys. Wait till you hear the numbers, though, for the last few episodes. And this gentleman sitting literally, oops, gosh darn it, right there, Mr. Hank Russell. How you doing, brother?
Gentlemen, it is so good to see you. I am so backed up right now with excitement. And
no Miralax needed. No Miralax needed.
That's right. That's right. I got my baby powder on ready to go, baby.
That's right, guys. All right. So, yes, for those who don't know, Shane and I put a little special announcement out 2 days ago. And ladies and gentlemen, you are going to be amazed to hear this. Thank you to the 467 of you who have viewed that episode, that little 32.5-minute episode. We greatly appreciate it. But guys, shout out though, for real. That 1 minute and 34-second clip that I did quickly, Coach Darren, what's going on, brother? Good to see you, man. That 1 minute and 34-second clip that I did, just kind of giving like a quick rundown of the NAIA World Series champion team, which I got to talk to you about that in just a minute. And then, of course, the Atlanta Braves winning. And then shout out to the Texas Longhorns softball pitcher for pitching a complete game gem and winning the day her grandma died. God, it's almost at 800 views. So shout out to all those who are really like investing in us. We really appreciate it. So, yes, we have a lot to talk about. Woo! let's give them something to talk about. Indeed, if our guest does not show up, it's okay. We have a lot. The Women's College World Series. Yes, tonight is the decisive game 3 of it all. And we cannot wait. Shane, you have a little shout out here, brother. Daniel Driggers.
Hey, what's going on, Big D?
We have a lot to talk about that one. The first off, the semifinals drew a record-breaking viewing crowd, and as of right now, the last two have already the 2 games so far played in the World Series championship game have already drawn more. We'll talk about what that means.
Well, I hate to interrupt you here, but if you haven't watched these past 2 games,
yes,
you are missing out completely, because this is everything that you wanted in any sport, period. Like it's got drama, it's got excitement, it's got
controversy,
underdogs, controversy, you name it, they got it.
And we're not lying to you on this, guys, because Shane and I, congratulations on the success, guys. Keep moms and Scuba Steve straight.
Scuba Steve, got to keep him straight.
I thought he was going to say, keep my mom's name out your mouth.
But when we promise you, Shane and I, we are literally like back and forth texting. We're glued about this. This has been a fantastic Women's College World Series. We are definitely going to talk about it, and I can't wait to talk. We really just can't wait to talk about it. But then we have another serious moment that we have to talk about in the sports world. Sports Science founder John Brinkus. He unfortunately passed away, and it was due to a long battle of depression. We'll talk a little bit about that. I want you guys to really tune into what we're talking about. This is actually very emotional to hear. We'll talk a little bit about that as well. Congratulations, guys, to the hapless Colorado Rocky guys. Guys, they swept their first series sweep in almost 3 years. Their first series win. Yes, this is so bad to say. The first series win since 2024. Do the math. That's 23 straight series they have not won. Alex, we'll talk a little bit about that as well. And we also have a monumental, epic collapse of biblical proportions for Atlanta Braves. We'll talk a little bit about that as well. Shane's already shaking his head. And then I just mentioned it to you guys. The LSU Shreveport Pilots. Who are they? Well, I'm so glad you asked that, hypothetical listener. The NAIA World Series champions did something that has never been done in the history of any collegiate baseball level. That's from NAIA, D1, D2, D3, all of those, all the above. We will talk about them, and we have some really cool news about them too. Can't wait to share that with you. And then, guys, who is the surprise so far in the college baseball regionals that went into super regionals? We'll talk a little bit about college baseball. And Matt, okay, and I don't know if you guys saw this. This is the first story we're going to talk about, actually. All the way up until 0.3 of a second, the NBA Finals Game 1 was owned by the Oklahoma City Thunder, and Cinderella swept in and said, "Hold my beer. I got a new glass slipper to wear." We'll talk about that one.
Hey, Halliburton said, "Here's your thunder. I see your lightning."
There you go. And then the Stanley Cup Finals are here. Let's discuss the teams and if the state of Florida can continue its reign of supreme, which, by the way, the state of Florida has ruled both the Kelly Cup and Stanley Cup for the last 6 years combined. We'll talk a little bit about that one. Then, obviously, guys, the new season is here. God, we have so much to talk about, and we're gonna get it going with you guys. Thank you for tuning in. Let's get it going. The first topic that I want to talk about with you, Matt, I'm going to start this right away with you. Last night was an unbelievable performance, and every single sports media individual, including Scott Van Pelt, they had like layers, note cards, paper, everything, talking about Oklahoma City winning the first game in the NBA Finals. And what does Tyrese Halliburton do? He says no. And one of the largest, if not the largest, fourth quarter comebacks ever in NBA Finals history happened. They were down 15 to start the fourth quarter, and they won by 1 point, which was the longest time that the Pacers held the lead was 0.3 of a second. Matt, what do you have to say? Like, this is an unbelievable stat. Am I right?
Absolutely, man. But right now, we shouldn't even be surprised. Indiana has been doing this all playoffs. They've been battling back, having big games, hitting clutch shots, and that's all their players. They have a great team top to bottom, great system. But you got to give hats off to Rick Carlisle, their coach, doing a masterful job with each person that he's faced. And I think I read something today where every playoff coach that he's faced came up under Rick Carlisle. I think I read something today. I think I got to go back into it to see how true it is. But I read that every coach that he's faced was a coach up under him.
Even Thibodeau.
That's what I read. That's what I read somewhere. So I'm gonna double back and follow up with that. But yeah, Thibodeau was I don't think Thibodeau was from Greg Popovich's tree. I don't think so. But anyways, yeah, man. Hats off to the Indianapolis Pacers.
Indiana Pacers.
I'm sorry, Indiana Pacers. I'm thinking the Colts.
I thought he said it the first time. So Matt, I wasn't gonna say nothing because I didn't know.
I think I just wanted to say Indianapolis for some reason.
He wants to say the Indianapolis Colts.
I just wanted to say Indianapolis. But the Thunder had a good game. The Thunder played a good game. It's just Nembhard and Aaron Nesmith, they hit good shots, man. They hit crazy shots. And then, of course, Tyrese Halliburton caps it off with the game winner. Look, man, both teams play hard.
I got an alarming stat for you, though, too, okay?
What's that?
Since 1997, there's only been 4 players who have had 5 or more game-winning shots in the fourth quarter, and Tyrese Halliburton is on there, and he had 4 already the entire NBA playoffs. That's insane. He is now alone on that chart in second place behind who, Matt? Your boy, LeBron James, who has 8. Halliburton has 5. Yes, he is tied with a couple others. However, he is technically sitting alone because the other 2 haven't played in 10 plus years.
Yeah, and Halliburton's only done it in like I'm going to say 1/6 of the time that LeBron had to do it.
Yeah, it's insane. But let's go to you.
So you're saying that he was cutting him off as far as no. The last second buzzer beater sort of thing.
Yeah. Clutch shots.
He is the second most clutch shooter in the NBA postseason behind LeBron James. It's insane.
As far as makes, not the best clutch shooter that there is, but as far as makes.
As far as makes, yes. He has done it 5 times in his career since 1997. He is the second best behind LeBron James, who's done it 8. Yeah. So let's go to you too, Hank. I want to ask you this one as well. Like, everybody, and I mean, it's you could put a room of 100 people right now, and before last night's results, you could ask what was the final going to be, and almost everybody, if not everyone, would say OKC in 5. But does this change the narrative? Could it be a 6, or heck, could it even be a 7-game series?
No, it doesn't change anything because my pick has been the Indiana Pacers the whole time. You have more notable veterans on that team. You have more experience. Miles Turner, Pascal Siakam. You have a ton of experience on that team. And I'm not saying the OKC Thunder doesn't have potential, but the only way that the OKC Thunder is going to win this is if they outwork the crafty veterans that are with, Tyrese Halliburton, because Halliburton hadn't been in the league dramatically long, but he's got way more experience than everybody else on the OKC Thunder. And that's why they're my pick, and they were my pick days ago to win this NBA Finals. So it changes nothing in my eyes.
What do you see the Pacers winning in, and how many games do you see them winning?
Oh, no, they're going to get in. It's going to take about 6 games. It's going to take about 6 games.
What about you, Hank? I mean, Shane, gosh.
Well, the way I look at it, man, is this Indiana team is built for defense. We saw that on display last night. Within the last 3 minutes of the game, they were down by 9. First team, in 185 tries or 84 tries to come back from a 9-point deficit within 3 minutes left to go in the fourth quarter. in the NBA's final game and to win. But their defense come that like 5 minute mark last night was just miraculous. I've been, hey, everybody, I think I was maybe the only one out of the four maybe to get the finals correct in the picks.
Is that true, Matt?
I might rub that in a little bit, but
I mean, I would.
Why not?
Yeah.
I see. This is going to be a great series. Like this is going to be probably one of the best NBA Finals series that we've seen. Since I almost want to say that Boston Cavaliers final. How the anticipation, the build up to that finals game and everything. Yeah, we're not talking about big three versus big three, but we're talking about, these teams made it because they were the best teams in the league.
Thank you.
There were plenty of other teams out there that had the star power to get them there, but these two teams truly played as a team to make it here. And I'm still going to stick with my gut and what I say. OKC in 6. If it goes 7, Pacers all day.
Oh, wow! But I'm kind of going to tag along this too because Matt, you know this, Hank, you know this, Shane, again, you know this too.
Mm-hmm.
The Pacers, they have done things that they surprise you. They absolutely surprise you, and we can no longer say it. And Scott Van Pelt said this last night. You no longer can sit there and say that the Pacers are scared. They're not.
Well,
they're not scared.
Look at the stats that you saw in the Eastern Conference Finals and the finals. Because what was it? They teams that were down 20 points in the fourth quarter. They were 16-14 or something like that.
It's crazy.
And then Indiana wins that game, and then they do it again, and then they do it again, and then here we are talking about this. They led for 0.3 seconds last night.
Yeah,
and they're the first team ever to come from a 9-point deficit with less than 3 minutes to go in the fourth quarter and still win it. It's like 1-184 now.
Yeah.
So
it's some ridiculous number.
The stars are aligning, but they still have a tough team to play.
Yeah, and I'm not saying neither one of us were saying, Pacers are going to absolutely, do their thing and win, because it's not look, OKC was one of the better teams. And, Stephen A. Smith said OKC last night, they including their playoffs, they've won over 80 games this year. That's the regular season and playoffs. They won over 80 games. There's a reason why they were the number one overall seed in both Eastern and Western, because they are that good. They're not a pushover by any means. But this finals is something to behold. How many? I've lost count of how many times we can sit there and say, "Oh, they're up by 20," but that's no guarantee because ain't nobody gonna win. And everybody who goes up by 20 comes back and they end up losing. It's a mind-boggling stat.
We saw Minnesota go up by 35, 36.
Yes.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
And then still lose the game.
Yeah, it's insane. Dustin, it's good to see you, buddy. Hey, it's insane. The stats for this playoffs. And, there's also a story that I want to tag along with the NBA as well. But Adam Silver said this has been one of the most watched. Now, I don't fully believe his numbers because, he likes to overinflate. But however, I will say the NBA postseason for 2025 has been one for the times for us to remember of how many teams were up 20 plus points and they still lost, or no lead is guaranteed anywhere. Of course, that anybody can win at any time, but it's been such an amazing postseason. Congratulations literally to everybody who has had the chance to watch, who has been there in person. And, the postseason, I honestly, I hope we have another 6 games to go so we can see a full 7-game series. It will be fun to watch. can't wait. And also want to tag this too. I don't know if you guys saw this. Adam Silver officially has come out and said the owners meeting next month, they are going to discuss NBA expansion. There are multiple cities who have already put their name in the hat, but there are 2, and we are almost guaranteed we know who they will be. Matt, you know it. Seattle and Las Vegas. Those are the absolute 2 that they are honing in on. Adam Silver said he is prepared to hear them, and he's prepared to see a vote take place that it could transpire in the next month to month and a half. We could realistically in the next 5 years have 2 additional teams in the NBA. And Matt, you know, how great would that be for the city of Seattle though, to bring back the Seattle Supersonics? I mean, you and I watched them. I know it was so much fun when we watched them. It was so much fun, Hank, when you watched them. Shane, I don't know if you had a chance to really watch.
Hey, Sean Kemp and Gary Payton ruled the West.
That's right.
It was a thing of beauty. But Matt, how much does that mean though, to know that we could realistically be 5 years away, if that even, to seeing the Seattle Supersonics back?
Yeah, man, that'd be insane. And for those who are wondering how that's going to work, how that would work is those 2 additional teams will join the West Coast, and then I think 1 team will have to move east, if I'm not mistaken. Might be 2 teams, and that'll be Memphis and probably more likely either New Orleans or Minnesota, I believe. So they'll want to go. I think 2 of those 3 teams will go to the Eastern Conference.
But it's a great thing, though, right? You remember the battles back in the day, right?
Oh, absolutely, man. I mean, you take it back to Gary Payton and Sean Kemp, man, with Dale Ellis out there, Dallas Shrimp, Big Sam Perkins. They had a nice squad out there. And then even they went through those years with Ray Allen and Rashard Lewis, and, you know, all the way even to the drafting of Kevin Durant and Russell Westbrook before they went over to Oklahoma City.
Westbrook got drafted by the Sonics?
Yeah.
Okay, I couldn't remember. I couldn't remember. It's been so long.
And Harden did too. James Harden did too.
Harden was OKC.
He was at OKC. So what happened was
he was the year that they went to OKC, I believe.
Yeah. What happened was the 26-year-old general manager came in and he traded away their biggest pieces, and they really racked up on the draft capital. And I mean, I'm talking. Rashard Lewis was gone, you know, and Ray Allen. They literally opened up the floodgates, and they brought in a lot of, you know, talent. They brought in Kevin Durant. They had James Harden. They had Russell Westbrook. Which
the biggest piece that they had was Serge
Ibaka, yeah.
Serge Ibaka,
yes. He was the biggest piece that kind of melted everything together for them.
And of course, you know, for those who don't know who that is, he does go by another nickname, Serge Ibaka. Just pointing that out.
I would Serge Crotcha, because he loved to grab private parts of dudes in the guard.
But he was a great blocker, Matt. You know that, right?
But at the same time, people forget it was they had to decide who to keep between Serge Ibaka and James Harden. I think James Harden said they were only about 5, 6 to 8 mil apart from each other with the numbers. That's it. But they chose to stick with Ibaka instead of James Harden to make one of the biggest what ifs.
Well, if you look at it, they didn't stick with anybody.
Serge got them where they are.
Serge was the last one that was of that 4 that was still on the team.
Yeah, well, if they would have kept Harden, I think they would have fought a little harder to keep that trio together with Harden, Durant, and Westbrook.
I've never seen. I realize that James Harden's won an MVP and everything like that, but I don't see him or Westbrook being the types that created enough value to get over that hump to win a championship.
I mean, they made it to the finals. They made it to the finals against the Heat when they were in their 3rd year or 4th year or something like that. They made it to the finals.
No, I'm not taking that away from them. I'm just referring to you know, it's the combination between at the time when Harden had no defense, Russell Westbrook was injury prone, and he was also, and at the same time he was able to, you know, be an unselfish player selfishly somehow. You know, it was you know, this was the days when he was, you know, it was pre, you know, triple double guy. But the thing about it is that he's proven it though. He can't, no matter what team he plays for, both of those guys have been MVPs, but they don't create enough value to get somebody over the hump, though.
That is true, but I will say this, and we'll move on. But obviously, Oklahoma City, they had something absolutely special to start with. KD and Westbrook and Harden, they had something there, and they're unfortunately they're touted as one of the best teams to never win it. And could this be the year though? Finally, that Oklahoma City gets their first title as OKC. Look, they've even already said that they would relinquish all their name writing basically with the Supersonics if Seattle gets another franchise. So shout out to the possibility, but then also this would be icing on the cake if we already have an MLB franchise coming to Vegas. We already have a MLB franchise. We already have an NFL franchise. We have an NHL franchise. We have I know we have something with MLS and whatever else coming. Let's just add, the icing to the cake and put an NBA franchise there. And, that will, I guarantee you those two cities, they're going to absolutely make some headway. That now another city that's being mentioned that has an outside opportunity is Kansas City. Matt, you remember the old KC team that used to be part of the there. Kansas City is mentioned on that one. There is mention of another Florida franchise, but that one has like a 1% chance, and that's the city of Jacksonville. So stay tuned. If it happens, obviously the Sportz Nuts will be happy to talk about any other additional teams. So,
you and these Florida teams.
No, there's a lot of Florida teams on, and I'm so glad.
Yeah, you saw my expression when he talked about it, right? I was like,
yeah.
So look, and I'm so glad that you mentioned this too, Shane. What we're talking about here, KC representing. All right, so the Stanley Cup, and more specifically, folks, the state of Florida has owned the ECHL and the Stanley Cup for the last 6 years. It would have been 7 this year, but that run actually ended thanks to the Montreal Canadiens ECHL affiliate knocking them out. But what am I talking about? The Kelly Cup finals usually has been between the Florida Everblades or the Jacksonville Icemen, which is the minor league, or the Florida Panthers and the Tampa Bay Lightning. And year 6 ended with those two. However, this is year 5 of a Florida franchise being represented in the Stanley Cup. And, does
represented, but hadn't they won the last 5?
No, the state of Florida has they really absolutely do own. And, we asked our guy, Dave Preston at WTOP, what does this mean? Like, is hockey prevalent more so in the state of Florida than any other state? What do you think, Hank?
I think that gosh, it just depends on the demographic. You hate to go there, but like these cities in Florida, you just wouldn't like. How do I say this nicely? You know where I'm going with this, right?
But they're a little too bougie to have hockey.
Well, like, think about it. All right, you're thinking about hockey. It's pretty much dominated fan base with the YT wonderful people, and as opposed to the BLK beautiful people, and that's what you have to consider.
This is Matt's reaction.
Hey, look, there is a reason. Let me tell you something. There is a reason why the Nashville Predators are in Nashville and not in Memphis, Tennessee. Okay, I got news for you.
Wait. Hold on. I'm going to argue PK. Everybody knows who PK is. One of the most prevalent NHL individuals. He is one of the hosts of NHL coverage on ESPN.
I know.
Ron knows who he is.
I know who he is.
He was a great player too.
That's one brother. Okay, that's a lonely brother out there. Okay, I got news.
You can't sit there and say
Very lonely.
The black population does not represent NHL because they absolutely do.
Yeah, that's like a blackhead on my face. Okay, you're gonna. It's noticeable. If it's really noticeable if you just kind of search for it, but you're not going to really look at it unless you say something.
Does Papa Jones's kid still play in the NFL? Or was it Sean
NHL?
Johnson? NHL? I mean,
Um,
I know his son got drafted very high.
I remember the guy, the defensive man from Boston. I forget his name, but he was kind of one of the first ones to break that barrier.
Right.
Yes, I'm
And-
trying to. I know. I see it, but I can't remember his name.
And quite frankly, depending on where you play in Florida, because there's not a Miami
Oh, here you
team.
go.
Is it in Miami?
Jesus Suarez or Soros. There's your answer right there.
The Panthers are right outside of Miami.
Okay.
Yeah.
See,
Florida
and
Panthers
that's-
literally are outside, and I will go in a minute. I'm going to explain this to you, Hank. So Sunrise, Florida is like 10, 15 minutes outside of Fort Lauderdale.
Mhm.
However, where the Florida Panthers home arena is like in someone's backyard. It's the absolute strangest of strange arenas. It's musty. It sticks out like a sore thumb. It's so bizarre.
But it's aesthetically on the outside though.
Oh, it's very pretty.
It's
Yes.
great. It's great. It's
I'm
just
sure.
like I can relate it to NASCAR. Homestead Miami Speedway is in Homestead. It's still like 45 minutes south of Miami.
Right. Now
Um,
Miami's
And,
Miami's a huge
but
market.
it's a great atmosphere,
Mhm.
and it's just like the racetrack. It's out in the middle of nowhere,
Yeah.
but it's got some of the best action that you'll see outside of South Beach.
Yep.
Yeah.
Those
And
fans are very passionate, by the way. Sunrise, Florida, they're very passionate. I don't particularly care. That's because I'm a Tampa Bay Lightning fan. It is a big rival.
West Coaster.
Yeah.
yeah, and
Yeah,
to be
for
fair,
golf,
and to
by
be
the way.
fair with the assessment about the Florida thing, Miami is a melting pot and is probably the fifth biggest market in the country. So that's kind of, that kind of negates. You want to go to the whitest parts of the country in order to have a good hockey successful team and stuff like that. I got news for you. Memphis, Tennessee, and Gary, Indiana are probably not going to have successful pro hockey teams. Let's just keep it 100. All right.
So,
Oh, you don't like what I'm saying? 3 words. Prove me wrong. Okay, that's all you got to do. That's all you got to do is you get offended all you want to, but you can prove me wrong because
you said
I'm
they have to go
from
to
Memphis and I like hockey. But I got news for you, man. The Memphis Predators wouldn't sell dick. I'm telling you, it's like.
Well,
we'll edit that out.
I'm sorry. I'm getting worked up about this.
I can tell you, being a Hurricanes fan, Raleigh, it's not.
Raleigh, where it's at.
They have no other professional sports there other than the NHL team.
Yep.
But it's one of those.
Well, they do have the
things-
Carolina Checkers, but they're kind of.
That's in Charlotte.
Yeah, they're kind of not.
But that's that's really the only major league sport in Raleigh, and Raleigh is not a great area for
Raleigh's not exactly a good area in general.
No, it is. It's one of the fastest growing cities in the nation, but it's also very diverse. Let me put it like that. But as we saw through this NHL Stanley Cups and everything that we saw in the Eastern Conference, that Raleigh proved to be a true hockey city.
Yep.
Whenever their team is doing good. So it's not necessarily just the diversity and where it's located. It's the fandom and what people buy into. And I can tell you, being this from the Carolinas, us Carolina fans are extremely biased when a team's doing great, but don't have a lot to say when they're doing bad. but yet in that same sentence, they still show out for the Carolina Hurricanes in Raleigh, being the only major league team there.
You know what? I'm going to eat my words and agree with what you just said, because I'm thinking of like cities like St. Louis. The only 2 teams up there.
St. Louis Blues is a really good team. They're one of the.
No, I love the Blues.
Yeah,
I do too. I like the St. Louis Cardinals and these the Blues are the 2 major professional teams up there.
You got the Battlehawks.
And they have a strong melting pot up there as well. You know what I'm saying? Like a great big play.
Oh yeah, East St. Louis is hood. That's about as bad as Memphis. Going down that one street that you don't ever stop at a stoplight at.
Now I've been to Boston a couple of times though. That is like, St. Louis is an awesome sports. Yeah, I've been to Boston a couple of times though, man. Boston, is a very eclectic town too. But you go to a Boston Bruins game, baby, it ain't nothing but drunk, green monster type guys like
Monsters.
this up in there.
Boston people,
Yeah,
man, they know how to like represent their town very well. Their
Man.
their fan base, any of them, they're fantastic.
Drinking their coffee and the khakis.
Coffee and
The
the
clam
monster and all the lagers and
I'm
whatever.
getting my Pepperidge Farm.
Fam. Yeah, but again,
I'm
so
gonna go to Hannah Ford.
so
Hey, you sound retarded. I'm telling you.
but hey guys, obviously the NHL Stanley Cups is just fantastic. Shout out though to the Montreal Canadiens, ECH affiliate. They have a chance to upset Toledo. Look, Toledo's a very good team. They absolutely are very good. But Toledo has to really pull a rabbit out of the hat. They're down 2-0 to the series, and they could have an opportunity to outshine many others. Shout out to them. And then also shout out though to Edmonton. Look, guys, and this is we have another segment we're about to go to, but I'm going to talk this. This is crazy stat, by the way. People sit there and they say, even our good friend Dave said it. Canada it's hockey. That's their bread and butter is hockey up there, right? You want
when they win it last. When they win it last.
The last time a Canadian team won, 1993. The last time Edmonton won, 1990. Put it to perspective. Hockey means the most up there, but other cities and the Americans, they actually are picking it up. And again, also shout out, like I said, to the American World Hockey team. They upset Sweden in the World for the first time in 92 years. They won it. It's an amazing accomplishment. America hockey is really picking up steam. But shout out to the state of Florida. Absolutely, it would have been 7 years in a row. We could have seen some form of a Florida team hosting the part of. It was actually the whole state of Florida basically hosting ECHL and NHL. So yeah, guys, we have a new segment that we are going to bring on. It is called the MLS moment. What is the MLS? It's Major League Soccer. This gentleman is our soccer guy. He's going to talk with us because look, we have a lot of big things taking place with soccer. The World Cup, Group World Cup is literally knocking on the door. Shout out to Jessica, my sister. She is taking Jackson to Mercedes-Benz to see World Cup play take on in the Mercedes-Benz Stadium. We have a lot of people who are diehards with regards to soccer. Our good friend, the Pitch Grid podcast, John, is going to join on. He's going to talk to us about some MLS updates, some MLS news, and a little bit of the World Cup. John, man, thank you for coming on. How you doing, buddy? You're muted, sir.
Hey, John, before you get unmuted, man, I feel very disrespected. You needed to get a haircut and trim your beard for the premiere of this new episode, man.
Hey, unmute your mic, John.
Man, man, if you want me to cash app you about $30, I'll get you a haircut and a beard trimmer, man.
Hey, $30. I'd do mine for free.
That's right. Look, hey, let me tell you, hey, Shane looks sexy, okay?
Right, John,
oh, man. John, how you doing, man?
Unmute your mic, buddy.
You're muted, bud.
I can't unmute you.
Oh, yeah. I don't know. Wait a second.
All right.
Is he doing? Are you doing it from your phone, John?
Yeah, he does it from his phone.
Oh, John, we gotta get.
Okay, John, I'm gonna pull you out real quick. Unmute your mic. Look, there's a way to unmute it from your phone, and then just give me a thumbs up. You did. There you go.
It's not,
there you go. There we go.
It's not your fault, John. Trust me. That button is tiny as all get out. I'm telling you.
Hey, listen, Hank, calm down. I do it from my phone too.
Yeah, but you've done this a million times. John's done this like what, twice? I mean,
only probably about. Well, I say 108 minus about 30.
Give or take.
Man, he really got me. He's right. He's right.
John,
technically 108. I'm gonna go drop a. Hey, I'm gonna go drop the kids off at the pool real quick. I'll be right back.
Oh Lord, here we go.
Oh,
John, man, so glad for you to be here. Thank you so much for coming in. Obviously, we had you on recently, and you talked with our good friend Abe Gordon of 92.9 The Game. But give us a little bit of a perspective. What's going on in the world of Major League Soccer? And then, as I mentioned, also, we are coming to World Cup group play. Can you explain that to everybody, please?
All right. So I guess where to start? Let's start with the hottest teams right now in the MLS. And that would be the Vancouver Whitecaps and Nashville SC. Right now, currently, Vancouver has the longest unbeaten run in MLS, 5 wins and 6 draws, with 21 points total in that run. Meanwhile, Nashville has their 6 wins and 4 draws and 22 total points in a 10-game unbeaten run. So these guys they're hot, and they're obviously Nashville is winning a lot more, but one of the cool things is that Vancouver right now is in first place, 2 points ahead of the likes of San Diego, who is in second in the Western Conference in the MLS. Nashville is 5 points back of Philadelphia, who is in first place. So they would need a win, 2 draws maybe to tie if Philly were to lose both of their games. And then however, Nashville are only a point out of second. That's how close the race is from second to fourth, which is where Nashville is in 4th place currently. Do you know what the longest unbeaten run in the MLS history is? 19 games. That was done twice by FC Dallas in 2010 and Columbus Crew in the 2004 and the 2005 season. So they ended the 2004 season on an unbeaten streak, and then they kept it going in 2005. So they've been on a bit of a tear, and then so it's coming down to the wire a bit, because both these teams have a gauntlet of a schedule coming up. Nashville SC has 3 teams that are all fighting for the last 2 playoff spots in the Eastern Conference in New England and Chicago and DC United. Schedule's kind of wonky this month because of the Club World Cup and Leagues Cup, which we'll get to in a minute. But they have to play those teams, and then next month they have games against Inter Miami and Lionel Messi, and San Diego and Columbus. And Vancouver themselves has no slouch of a schedule. They're coming up against the likes of Seattle, LAFC, San Diego, and Columbus. So they both have incredible gauntlets of schedules coming up. All these teams, by the way, are within their top 4 of their respective conferences. So these, except for Chicago, DC United, and New England. But so these are schedules that are no easy matter, and we're going to really know both of these teams' mettle by the end of July for sure.
So let me ask you this real quick too, John. Okay.
Yeah, for sure.
Atlanta, obviously we had this discussion with Abe. They're oh so close to being the bottom tiers. Obviously, Toronto and Montreal, they're not really gonna, they're not to write home with your mom about kind of stuff. But could Atlanta actually, maybe right this ship just in the nick of time to get there and possibly be fighting for a playoff position?
Well, the thing is, Brandon, like, your Atlanta right now sits currently on 10 points. Right now, the playoff position is at 22 points. Ooh. So they would need to make up 12 points.
So in other words, they could get a rabbit out of their hat then, is basically what you're saying.
It feels like it, yeah, because it feels like they've left a little too much to do at the end of the season, because we're already a little over halfway done with the regular season. Anything's possible. We've seen crazier stats like Sporting Kansas City. They had a season a couple of years ago where they did not win or have a result in their first 10 games and somehow still made the playoffs and beat the number 1 seed in the Western Conference to get to the Western Conference semifinals. So, anything's possible, but it feels rather a lot to work on for Atlanta right now, especially with how poorly and inconsistent their form is right now.
Shane has a question about Charlotte FC. Shane, go ahead.
Yeah, well, I got a couple questions for you. One, me being a hometown kind of guy, Like,
For
you
sure.
know, what's your outlook on Charlotte FC and kind of where they've positioned themselves, especially being new to the league and everything. But
Right.
but then again, I want to get your thoughts on Atlanta. They're only a few years removed from the MLS Cup type stuff. So you know, how does that drastic change in just a few years come about in the MLS? But like I said, I still want to know your thoughts on Charlotte.
Well, I'll get to Charlotte first. They're in the contention for the playoffs. They are currently in the Eastern. If the playoffs were to happen today, they would, I believe, be in the playoff positions. They would be in the knockout round, which is basically the precursor to the first round of the playoffs.
Yeah, what bottom four, correct?
No. So what happens in each conference? You go 1 through 9.
Yeah.
So the top 9 will make the playoffs. The first round of the playoffs is a knockout game between the 8th and the 9th seed. Right now, Charlotte would be in that knockout round game.
Okay. So it's just a straight up kind of lower seeds knockout round to get you down to an even number to go to.
So
Yeah,
Charlotte
exactly.
and New York would be the ones battling each other.
Yeah, and Charlotte and I believe Chicago right now are. I'd have to look at the standings again, but I'm pretty sure it's Chicago right now who are in the 9th seed. So it'd be them in Chicago.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. So,
But that's great for what, third year, right?
Yeah, I mean, well, last year I believe they were scrapped. Charlotte's been on the edge for a while. They made the playoffs, I believe, last year. They didn't do so well in their series, but they're close, and they've got some investment in this. They brought in Wilfred Zaha from Crystal Palace over the winter transfer window. And right now, the summer transfer window is about to open, so there's absolutely time for them to get some reinforcements, make sure that they don't have to sweat out a one-game playoff, right? But yeah, their outlook is good. They have a lot of talent and a lot of international stars that they have brought and been able to bring in from overseas, particularly, including Petkovic, who is a Croatian superstar in the World Cup, particularly if you've watched the World Cup.
speaking of the World Cup, John, Group World Cup play is coming coming literally knocking on the door. My sister Jessica, which again I'm going to shout her out, and my nephew Jackson, they're coming to Mercedes-Benz Stadium, and they're going to watch every match because my nephew is an avid soccer player. But can you give our listeners a little bit of detail, because I know that the World Cup officially starts next year, but this is group play. Can you explain that, please?
Okay, so all right, let's explain this a little bit. So this is the Club World Cup coming in the summer. So what's the difference between the Club World Cup and the actual World Cup? So Club World Cup is where, like, okay, so we know the Manchester Cities of the world, right? We know the PSGs, the Barcelonas, the Real Madrids. Those are the teams that are going to be playing this summer here in the States. So your family is going to be seeing the likes of maybe like Real Madrid and Jude Bellingham or Luka Modric playing in Mercedes-Benz Stadium. And they're competing 32 teams here in the States this summer for a $125 million prize for first place, which is part of a $1 billion payout.
They can make a check to us, by the way. That $1 billion can come to us.
That $1 billion, that's being paid out to every single 32 of those 32 teams.
Yeah,
Wow.
you heard my reaction to that, John. I was like, "What in the
Whoa.
holy
Yeah,
cow.
This is the first time they have ever made this big a pot for the Club World Cup. And then, so what is the actual World Cup is international teams. Now, here's some really cool stuff. Yesterday, we had two international teams that have never been to the World Cup qualify for the first time: Uzbekistan and Jordan. Uzbekistan has only been around for 30 years for an international team, so not very long. They're pretty recent for an international team. But Jordan They haven't been around. They haven't been to a World Cup in their 73-year history.
That's a very long and dubious stat to say, by the way.
Is that the how long the country's been around, or the
No,
actual?
the international team.
The international.
Okay, because you said
Woo.
Jordan. I'm like, okay, I don't know much about this country.
Just the soccer team,
Yeah.
not the country.
Okay,
Yeah,
I was about to say
country's
I
been
don't
around
know
for a long time.
I don't know much about African countries, that part of the world. That's like near the desert, for crying out loud.
It's in Middle East. So these
Yeah.
are both Asian teams.
Yes.
So the White Wolves of Uzbekistan have been agonizingly close the last few World Cup qualifiers. They reached the playoffs, semis, I believe it was, last qualifiers, but got knocked out in the Asian section, in the Asian qualifying, and they've been around that area for the last 3 or 4 qualifying rounds. Because of course the World Cup plays every 4 years, so qualifying takes place in those 3 intermittent years. So this is a huge boost for like these the international. What happens is if you get to the World Cup, you kind of get some incentive to help build your international facilities, your academy, help build the national team, and make sure like your younger players and your youth players can stay in the country, because otherwise there's laws where if you want to, you could transition to another international team, and there's teams like Gibraltar that struggle with that a lot. And Uzbekistan has been one of those that has slowly been building it up and has been gradually getting to this point. So it's a huge achievement for these countries to get in.
So let me ask you this, okay? And I know that we're still learning the whole shebang of Club World Cup. That number is a staggering number, but like,
Right.
what does this do for like the economies? I mean, I know Mercedes-Benz is getting to host. I know Atlanta's going to host, but could we see? What is the impact going to be for like LA and all the other possible? I think it's the other hosting sites, right?
Yeah, there's other hosting sites. So this is going to be all over the U.S. It's not just going to be in Atlanta. The final is actually going to be in Miami, um, and actually next year the World Cup is going to be here in the States as well, and that final is going to be at MetLife. Um, Funnily, you mentioned LA, because LAFC, in a twist of fate because of some technicalities that a certain club in Mexico has brought up, has to play a play-in game to get into the Club World Cup in Nashville coming up. So they could, if LAFC were to win that game, they could be part of that pot of teams. So this would be they would be the second MLS team, because the only other American team so far in this is Inter Miami with Lionel Messi and company, and that's because they won Leagues Cup a couple of years ago.
So basically, what you're saying for Club World Cup is if they out of the group of 32, if that team wins the whole thing, then they have the opportunity to be in the World Cup.
No. So World Cup is international teams. Club World Cup is just a sense of pride for the club. Because club football and international football are completely different. International football, you're representing your country. Club, you're just representing the team that you signed for.
Okay. Matt has a question for you. Matt, go ahead.
Hey, yeah. Do you think that you can compare this to the European basketball phenomenon that we're seeing right now?
I don't know too much about the European basketball stuff. I know it's become huge lately. But I would say that it's here in the States, it's growing, right? Like this is starting to become bigger than hockey actually, and how popular the sport is in the States. And that's crazy enough that we would think that, right? But um, yeah, it's starting to become more of a thing, right? Like in Europe, I think basketball is much more of a competitive sport. Like you have a lot of international talent coming here to the NBA. But with the thing about U.S. soccer is you have pay to play, which is nowhere else in international football. So what pay to play is, you pay to have your kids play in soccer, right? You pay for them to be in academies. in England, for example, your kid, you just induct them into the academy, and the club takes care of expenses.
Okay.
So, so often kids in England, for example, will go in at about 6 or 7, and they'll be in that academy until they're ready to join the senior team, or they get traded off somewhere else.
I was about to say it's common over there for trade schools and stuff like that. My mother was married to a actual German guy from Germany, and many parts of European, they invest in your trade at a very young age. And apparently,
Yeah, in Europe, you go to school till you're like 16, and then either you go to trade school, workforce, military, or university is what
Right.
they call it.
but you get,
That's kind of what they do.
but you get what I'm saying, right? Like it's like in some of the cases, they actually fulfill your trade at a young age, and that's
Right.
and that's a very common thing.
Yeah.
I mean, tell me if
In
I'm
European
wrong.
soccer, it's very common. Yeah, it's very common for like you to go to academy and then maybe switch over to another. It's a very fascinating process, really,
Mhm.
just because how football is so ingrained in those cultures, right? It's not really ingrained in ours. Ours would be more comparable to, like, say, football camps, like American football. It's
Real
where
football.
we get
Real
our
football.
Yeah, actual football. Like,
um,
American.
America, baby.
Right.
But yeah, it's very comparable to the American version of the game, where we have our kids participate in a very young age, and in the camps and all that. It's very similar, except the kids actually go live at the academy practically.
Yeah.
They live in the city, and they might not always be right. Even if they don't live right in the city, they'll go live there to train and be with their other teammates and stuff like that. Because there's like under 18, under 16.
Yeah.
It's even transitioning. I'm sorry to cut you off, Hank, but it's even transitioning because I know of my old boss. His son is in a soccer association in Florence, South Carolina, and he got invited to do the Madrid camp and all that over there. Like they go over there for a month, and it's like he came back. He said that's what those kids do. It's like soccer in school. That's all they do.
Yeah, it's very intensive, and like I said, pay to play is the huge barrier to the U.S. soccer being more comparable to European, because we have to pay for that, and not a lot of other countries have that.
Yeah, and then Matt's
it's a huge controversy if you want to go look that up.
Yeah, and then Matt's point, I mean, we're talking about the 16-year-olds that are going to play soccer. They're doing that in the basketball thing too. So it's like we see the European influence for the soccer kind of come over, and we see the American influence. Well, I'm sorry, the European influence for the basketball. Now we see kind of the Americans, like the younger American generation, kind of going to that kind of. So that's kind of I think where we're kind of getting along the same lines.
Well, yeah, but like, what's crazy enough is America has a golden generation right now of soccer talent that is being wasted right now. Don't get me started on the U.S. men's international team. We could be here all day. But
hey, y'all check out the segment coming, because we're going to dive deep into it.
Yeah, for sure. Because this summer's huge. This is huge because the U.S. is hosting World Cup next year. We automatically qualify.
Absolutely. All right, guys.
Can I please?
Yes, I was about to say, Hank, please address this.
All right, put up the comment.
This is the first one. Was Philly Eagles rule?
I don't know who this is.
And then the drool comment. This was the best one. Hank,
you know what?
Look like you got a big.
You're
body.
right. I do have a big body. You weak built motherfucker. You look like you could let a goldfish muscle you inside of a shark tank.
Oh boy.
You weak built.
Okay. All right. With that being said, his name is John of the Pitch Grid podcast. John, where can everybody find you, sir?
We're everywhere. We have episodes on Spotify, YouTube, and Apple. We just dropped an episode today, so go check that out. Like, subscribe, all that. And then you can find us on all our social media platforms: Instagram, Twitter or X, TikTok, Facebook. We post a ton of short content on there, so keep an eye out for that as well.
Absolutely looking forward to it. Thank you guys for letting us have him on. We really appreciate it. John, we will talk again soon. Sound good, my brother?
Yes, sir. Sounds
All right.
good.
Take care. All right, so obviously we will let's talk a little bit about the next this one is going to be a really good one for us. Shane, I'm really excited to talk about this, okay? Actually it's going to be it's going to be a really quick run on this one. You mentioned this a few weeks ago, right? Okay. It was the LSU Shreveport Pilots. Now, folks, this is something that I'm excited because the coach has actually agreed to come on our show. They are the NAIA World Series champions. Now, here is something you guys may or may not know, and I want you guys to really hone in on this one. First off, Hank, how many games in a row did Joe DiMaggio get a hit?
I want to say 22.
No. Matt, do you know the answer? You're muted. How many games did Joe DiMaggio hit in a row?
Does he still hold the record?
This is a record, yes.
63.
No. Cassie, do you know the answer?
Well,
Joe DiMaggio. All right. Shane, you know the answer, right?
was it 56?
58.
58. Okay, yeah.
58 in a row. Joe DiMaggio hit 58, hitting 58 games in a row. Well, ladies and gentlemen,
One more better.
the LSU Shreveport Pilots won one more game in a row than Joe DiMaggio got a hit in. They went 59-0. This is a stat that has never been done in any game level. That's D1, D2, D3, NAIA. And this year was the first year it has ever happened that Shreveport did it. They went 59-0. They won the NAIA World Series Championship. Congratulations to them, guys. Please, Hank, give the round of applause sound effect, please, sir. Yes. Absolutely. Look, we're getting live commentary right now about the NHL Stanley Cup playoffs. But yes, shout out to them. Just wanted to give a quick point out. They will be coming on. We may have them on next Friday the 13th. Not sure yet. I'm really trying to hone it in on that one. I really appreciate it. If we hear back from them, if not, it's okay. We're going to get them on regardless. Really excited about that one, guys. We got to talk about a very serious moment here in the sports world, and I want to hear you all's thoughts on this one. This is a very near and dear topic to me because I suffer from mental health issues. Unfortunately, I have bipolar depression. It is a very real disorder, and depression in general is pretty emotionally draining for everybody. You know, families included, whatever they get involved with it. Right. All right. Sports Science founder John Brinkus. He unfortunately passed away recently after a very long battle with depression. It is obviously a very tragic loss. He was very young. I believe he was in his 50s. He was the CEO. He was very much well endowed with his finances. He's a very wealthy individual, but unfortunately, he took his life. And this has to bring attention to a lot of people who suffer from mental health issues like depression. My wife has to deal with this on a regular basis with me, unfortunately, because of how severe depression is. And obviously, when you have things that compound to them, with I had the Widowmaker in July of 23, it brings a full circle on things. And I want to start with you, Matt, on this one too. I know you remember watching Sports Science come on the Sports Center segments, and how much of an impact does this bring to men's mental health as well, knowing that he was such a young individual to take his own life?
Well, yeah, I mean, it's always unfortunate to have something like this happen. And even when you go and, go thinking back to, players that played the game of football that had CTE issues. It's very, very, very unfortunate. From my understanding, the research, there's a lot of money is poured into the mental health research for mental health, just for cases and causes like this. But definitely a tragic situation that you never want to hear about.
Absolutely. All right, Shane, I want to hear your thoughts on this too. I mean, this is a very this sits with with a lot of people, and and I want to hear your thoughts on it.
Oh yeah, well, I think it's extremely tragic what happened and what we see happen all the time. We just celebrated Memorial Day not too long ago, and that was for the ones that gave everything for us to have everything that we have. And that's kind of one of the things that that the veteran corps around the states after they retire and everything, we see depression, PTSD among the highest causes of death of these individuals. But to bring it all together, this man was the first sportscaster that I can remember to bring analytics to the broadcasting side, not just the sports side of things. So, like to see him do, all the specials that he did with the players and the analytics and the stats that we get now, Prime. Amazon Prime is a great example. Whenever they do football games, basketball games, races, they bring in these kind of off the wall analytics that we got used to seeing because of him. So that's one great thing to see. That all the sports aspect has shifted around. Kind of the information that he gave us in that sports science segment. But it's still one of those things that we need to bring awareness to. And, I can tell you, I might be a great example of it, but the happiest person in the room might be the most troubled in the same sense.
That is so, man. I am so glad that is very true.
So
Especially with men's
just,
mental health.
Yeah, you got to talk to them. I mean, the way the male role has been dominated and been told you're the protector, the provider, and everything else. The female's role in your relationship, if you've got one like that, it's as a supportiveness, the emotional support and everything. So hey, if you've got three good friends like I got here, just open up, talk to them, because it weighs on all of us as males in general. So open up and talk to one another, and kind of it's hard to do, but you got to let that softer side show.
You're right. You absolutely are right.
And that will help out a whole lot. And hopefully, by everything going on, it just keeps bringing awareness to that.
You hit the nail on the head. Look, I suffer also from medical PTSD. I had that Widowmaker, and it really messes with you. Mental health. You're right, though, Shane. The stigmatism that is bestowed upon men. You're the protector. You're okay. Don't worry about it. Rub some dirt on it. Get over it. Kind of. That is what you always hear. Is get over it. That kind of stuff, right? But don't just necessarily assume because they're a man, they're okay. Because it's very true. Oftentimes the most happiest looking individuals can be the most distraught. I can attest to that. My wife can attest to that.
Mm-hmm.
So what we want to do is, we send our deepest thoughts and prayers out to the Brinkus family. And if you know anybody who needs mental help, 988 is an actual number to help for suicide prevention. Hank, tag into it real quick.
I'll just say this, and well said, Shane. Very well said. Thank you. That was almost perfect what you just said, because I can't think of anything that
I try every once in a while.
No, but I'll just tell you this: it's ironic that an analytical, scientific mind like that, who probably was the smartest man in the room wherever he went in the sports world, his brain gave him misinformation to do something to himself that wasn't necessary. I don't know what overwhelmed him to the point. I mean, we've all been there. Brandon talks about his mental instability issues. See, people tend to forget one thing though about like mental health and mental issues. You think of it as like, when you hear that, 10 years ago, you would have thought, oh, like me, myself, and Irene with Jim Carrey, schizophrenia or something like that. And that's not the case. That just means your mind is not where it should be at this point in time. And you need to always be, you need to take care of yourself. Like Brandon said, back in our day, it was always like, put some dirt on it and let it go, shake it off, get over it. It's not that bad. There are starving kids in other countries, all these cliche sayings that you hear. And yet it doesn't make you just snap out of it and go, oh yeah, you're right. Absolutely. It could be chemical. It could be chemical. It could be trauma. PTSD has to do with trauma. And
it is a lot. It absolutely is a lot of environmental factors too. You're right on that one, Hank. It is a lot.
Absolutely. And what Noah just said, and Noah, we cool, man. You could probably whoop my behind, but Noah made a good point there. The smartest are usually the saddest amongst us. Absolutely. I mean, your mind is constantly thinking. Like, I don't consider myself the smartest person in the room, but I do consider myself the smartest person in some, at least maybe top 5 in a lot of rooms. And it's sad. You think about things too much, you really do.
Your mind is your worst enemy. But like we said, if you see something, talk to them, help them realize that the importance of mental health. And then we'll go from there, kind of thing. Dial 988 if you have any issues, possibly of talking about suicide. It is a very real issue with men.
Yes.
With a lot of athletes as well. We want to keep our minds open with that one. Look, Matt, you have a quick question, and then I want to quickly draw what Cassie and I are actually watching right now. Go ahead, Matt.
I'm sorry, what was that?
Oh, never mind. All right, so Matt, do you have what? I want to hear your thoughts. That you agree, though, right? Like mental health, though, today. For everybody needs to be addressed more correctly.
Oh no, absolutely, man. Absolutely. I think people just need to, we're kind of in an age right now, man, where it's okay to talk about, things that are going on. Back in the early days of butt kisses, like Teddy Butkus and Brewskis and Armenheimers, and I'm just making up these last names of football guys. Back in those days, man, if you talked about, I got a headache, you were considered a quote unquote, pussy or a sissy or soft or things like that.
Real JJ.
Yeah, we're past those days, man.
Well, back in those days, you could say a whole lot more words for that.
You can say a lot more words. You can say a lot more words. Were there any FCC airways? But anyway,
not anymore.
But yeah, man. Oh boy, hey man, we might as well just let it flow, man. I gotta go back and edit this episode anyway. But
I'm sorry, Matt.
Got a few edits.
Y'all killing me, man. Y'all killing me. Killing me.
So get to the final point.
Yeah, man. But now it's good to just talk about that, man. A lot of, even for myself, man. When I went and talked to somebody about past childhood trauma, man, I felt so much better and relieved, and it changed me as a person. So it's best to have people to talk about that with, man. So I think these sports should come together and create something for their players, that who feel the need to talk to somebody.
Absolutely, you're right. Hit the nail on the head. So, guys, let's talk about our final topic of the night. The Women's College World Series is actually going on right now. Game 3. It's a must win to win it all kind of game right now. Unfortunately, it looks like Texas is actually going to win. They are up 5-0 in the third inning, but it's okay. But we all know this. No lead is safe. But I got some really cool stats I want to share with everybody, and I want to hear your thoughts on that one. The semifinals is one of the most officially the most watched women's sport ever in the history of women's sports, and also in the top 5 amongst men's sports, by the way. And what does that mean? Well, Tennessee UCLA guys hit at 2.2 million views. However, it peaked at a blazing 3.9 million views. And
No
Texas
kidding.
Tech and Oklahoma drew an average of 5.9 million views, and it peaked at 7.8 million. And then here's another one, all right, folks. The first 2 games of the national championship, the first one was 3.25 million views. Last night's, this is the number that's going to blow. My wife has no idea I got this number. Last night's was 9.8 million views at peak performance for the Women's College World Series. Shout out to everybody who watched the Women's College World Series. This is the most watched Women College World Series ever in the history of the sport. And I'm so excited to say that. You know, Hank, you made that short. Women's sports is coming. You
Yes.
absolutely said it's coming. It's here, and it's here to stay. And so, Hank, please do the round of applause real quick for the women. This is a monumental moment in women's sports. Matt, real quickly, what does that mean to know that that many people have tuned in to Women's College World Series?
The sport is growing. The sport is definitely growing, man. Just like all women's sports, all sports that women are growing themselves. Who knows, man? You know, we might see we might see a women's football league one day, man. Tackle football league one day.
There actually is a tackle women's football league.
Yeah, but it might, you know. But nah, man, it's a great thing. Great thing for the sport. Great thing, man. I just think that they need something beyond where they're at. As far as college, they need something beyond that.
I'm so happy you said that.
I got you on that one.
Because I'm going to hit it right there. Because, ladies and gentlemen, June the 9th, which is this weekend, the first professional women's softball league game starts. Yes, it is there. It is going to start. It is the Athletes Unlimited Softball League. It is a fast pitch softball league. Every player on average makes between $30,000 and $50,000 a year. Congratulations. It's only going to grow. I'm excited. Next year, if it takes out the way they're saying this year, next year they are projected to grow by an additional 8 teams. Shane, you have a say on this. Go ahead.
Oh yeah. Well, recently in the past few days that I've seen, the MLB has actually taken on the Professional Women's Softball League as one of their kind of subsidiaries and everything, and kind of like the NBA is bringing up
the WNBA.
The WNBA. That this is kind of the step that Manfred made to bring the softball series on, and I think they're committed 12 teams now.
Yep, and there's because of the 8 news, more.
Yeah, but it's nothing but greatness that we see from the women's side of sports. And everybody's on board now. It's as Brittany Griner put it, it used to be a lackadaisical game where people could bring their laptops and still go to work every once in a while during the WNBA game, but now they can't because it's an actual entertainment value to the product that we're seeing on the floor. Absolutely. And I think that the excitement about the college softball ranks and everything is bringing this to fruition with the MLB and the softball league. So I'm excited to see it, and we've seen a couple of professional softball league.
Oh, he got muted there.
I don't Well, yeah, phone call. My
Oh.
bad. But I think that we're going to see, the progressiveness towards the actual product that the fan wants to see on the field, to the professionalism that we see in both the men's and women's side now.
Preach that. Hank, please use your brick by brick my citizens comment again. I want to hear your thoughts on this too, sir.
Yeah, no, and you know what? You pretty much read my mind. The thing about it is that you can get pissy all you want to about this, about not getting what you're just due or whatever it is. But you've got to bring in something for people to draw. I can't bleed money out of my bank account paying you if I'm not going to get a return back, especially if I'm the one investing the money in you. And that's what people don't realize. And from what you said, Brandon, what was it? 3.5 million viewers, right?
Last night was over 9.
9. See, there we go.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? There was some value to that. When the UFC first had Forrest Griffin fight, Stephan Bonner, it was the most watched time. It was 10 million viewers. There is something to this. There is something to this. There's some substance to this. And I got news for you. You want to get paid sometime, and you want to have some sort of equal treatment when it comes to pay. Guess what? You've got to produce. And quite frankly, you got to prove people wrong sometimes.
That's right.
I can't just
Shut up the
give you
naysayers,
something.
right?
Yeah, I can't just give you something to cry about. The Sportz Nutz deserves a raise, but we're not there yet. And I can't just go cry and say, come to a news station or, YouTube or something like that. Say, hey, we had a good show last year. The 4 of us were all on accord. Would you put this on me? It's like, well, what were the numbers you pulled? We're not there yet. Okay. And neither are these women's sports. They're getting there.
The first time, as Brandon mentioned, that Matt knows all too well, the first time in the black that we're going to see.
That's right.
With the WNBA. So it's
an exciting time.
It's exciting because it's growing.
I want this for the league, but they just can't throw away money that they have. They should be gracious, and they have been gracious enough that they've kept the league around as long as it's been around. The WNBA has never produced a dollar. You got Candace Parker, who was an analyst for NBA. Nobody knew who the heck she was until she became an analyst for the NBA.
No.
For those of you who like staring at tall, beautiful women, then you knew who she was.
Well, I mean, yes. Okay, agreed.
Okay, I'm just saying. Look, nobody knew who she was. I mean,
there was far and few between as who.
They just showed her on Sports Center every day at the University of Tennessee.
I bet
you have my paycheck. I bet you have my paycheck if 10 million New York Yankees fans watched, who are huge Yankee fans or huge baseball fans. I guarantee you, not even 500,000 of them knew who Jenny Finch was. So
everybody knew who Jenny Finch was.
Everybody knew who Jenny Finch is. My wife is over here she's literally shaking her head as fast as possible. She knows who that is. Absolutely.
She was only 6'6" blonde white girl that didn't play basketball.
I'm just saying if these things were so important, they would be getting their money, right? I'm just saying that, without popularity, there is no money. So,
bottom line, though, is what he's saying. It's coming.
There's
That's what I'm saying. It's coming.
Yeah. There's popularity. What we've seen with the Women's College World Series and these numbers, and I mean, yet baseball draw is not the basketball draw. So you've also got to look at that, and they're doing a great thing now, though. So I wholeheartedly agree with you, Hank. It's all coming. And hopefully baseball and the softball side of things does it better than what the NBA, WNBA did for 20 years.
Yeah, absolutely. It's the life is not fair, and the world is unbalanced and uneven half the time. And it's going to take
and they call me King Turd up here on the mountain.
Oh boy, here we go. Well, guys, obviously, we commend women's sports. We support it 200% here. By the way, your boy Noah said if the Sportz Nuts gets a raise, make sure you give my boy Hank at least 40%.
Oh, I don't even know who Noah is, but man, thank you, Noah. I appreciate that, man. Hey, look, and thank you for verbal jousting with me earlier, man. You're funny.
Guys, we have had an absolute amazing start to season 4. Look, obviously I'm disappointed our guest didn't come on. It's okay though. We had a lot of fun talking sports.
It's cool.
We had a lot of sports. This guy said, you guys have been great dudes. Hey, thank you, Noah, for coming on. We really do appreciate it, man. It means a lot to have interactions. That's all it's about, is having fun, laughing, that kind of stuff. Guys, we have some goals, year-end goals. Yes. What is the year-end goals you talk about? Well, it's about all of our following. Okay. Well, guys, after Shane and I put out that that little just announcement, what's going on, and let's see, I'm drunk, don't even know how it ended up here. I'll tune in sober. There you go. So
I love
it generated. we were at like 1,237 subscribers on YouTube. Today, folks, we are officially at 1,302 subscribers. Thank you to all additional who have come on. We have a year-end goal by the end of 2025. Help us try and get to 2,000 subscribers. We can absolutely get there with your help. We know we can. So then let's look at our Facebook page. We're at 1,319 followers. Let's try and get to the magic number of 1,800 followers on Facebook. Our Instagram page is currently at 250. Let's try and get us to 850, if not more. We can do it with your help. And our Twitter, we're at 390. Our goal, let's try and get it to 1,100 followers on our Twitter, and our TikTok pages. Mine is getting there. Matt's got one for the Sportz Nuts. Shane, Hank, we all have one. Come on and help us get to those numbers. We can do it with your help. We are here and we are back. We're going to make this season be the season. We do have sponsorship packages. If you are interested in sponsoring us, let us know. We will give you the platforms. If you don't know what they are, excuse me, Shane and I went over them on the little announcement we do. It is posted up on YouTube, Facebook, everywhere. Go back and check it out. We greatly appreciate if you would be interested in sponsoring us. They're very affordable and you get a lot in return. Just throwing it out there. There's a lot in return with it. Guys, thank you from the bottom of our hearts for tuning in. Thank you to all those who pitched in to make this episode such a fun and inviting and interesting conversation for the last hour and a half. We really appreciate it. For our good friend John at the Pitch Grid Podcast, check him out. He has great content. He's our soccer guy insider. We really appreciate him coming on. Matt, what do you tell these lovely people?
Tell everybody, man, weekend's coming up. Don't get flagged. Don't get flagged in the game of life. Which means, have some sense. Don't go out there and get in trouble. Do what you got to do. Go home. Just keep it cordial. Keep it clean.
Don't do the whoop whoops. And Shane, what do you tell these lovely people, sir?
Well, first off, I want to thank everybody out there. I mean, hey, guys, have you realized we've made it to season 4?
We didn't think this was coming to light, and it happened.
Yeah, and it happens in a bottle. So I'm glad to be here with you guys. I'm glad to have everybody out there. I'm glad, to get our name out there and see what happens in the future. But as always, from the mountains of North Carolina, peace, love, and bacon grease.
Peace, love, and bacon grease, indeed. And Hank, what do you tell everybody, man?
You know what? It's wonderful seeing y'all out there. You could have been anywhere else, but you decided to join us tonight. No, I love you all for it. If you'll look at the bottom there, we're going to put it the pitch grid pod. We're going to cash out John and get him a haircut and tighten his beard up so that we can finally give him the sexiest man alive haircut, to make him look a little bit prettier. So
slurping bacon grease for you. I don't know if that's
but it's so good to see y'all, and y'all have a pleasant evening.
Yes, guys, as I always tell you, peace up. Actually, hold on. Peace up, A-Town down. Why it's the greatest sports city there ever was. We really appreciate everybody who's tuned in. We actually have somebody who's covering the Oklahoma City Thunder who will come on next week. It'll be a Wednesday for that individual. But we will see you guys next Tuesday at 7:30 p.m. is our normal time. Until then, guys, you have a wonderful evening. Have a wonderful weekend. And we'll talk to you. Yes, we will have the new season 4 outro video up next time, but enjoy this one. Bye.
Shane took off like a bullet, baby.